we have Emily Roberts joining us. And like I said, we're going to talk about AI scaling personalization, but from how to use AI in retention. Emily, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much. Let me just share my screen. So hi, sorry for the delay. My name is Emily Roberts, and I'm the head of growth marketing at Roswell NYC. It's a full-service e-commerce agency and Shopify Plus partner, and we focus on everything that helps brands build their businesses. And today I'm going to talk about specifically Attentive's integrated AI tech stack called AI Pro and our experience with it thus far, and sort of the joys of having all of that AI in one platform and working together. But first, I wanted to start with a brief trip down memory lane. So if you're like me and aged enough to remember when we used to blast the same email campaign to everyone, whipping up a generic email and blasting out the content to your entire audience of subscribers. And eventually, as marketers, of course, we grew smarter, wiser, and we started collecting data, building segments, and incorporating personalization into our strategies as our tools got smarter too. Over time, we collected more and more data, and a problem emerged, and that was what to do with all of the endless data that we had that we could use for personalization. And then fast forward to today, and most brands are sitting on gold mines of data, of customer data, while only actively using a fraction of it to drive strategy. We dreamed of true one-to-one personalization, but the reality is that many brands are drowning in data and overwhelmed by the thousands of ways to personalize. And that's where AI changes the game. It offers to deliver on the dream of personalization at scale. So the brands seeing dramatic revenue increases aren't just adopting AI randomly, they're using an integrated tech stack where each layer amplifies the next. Let me show you real results from brands using this approach with Attentive as their platform, currently using AI Pro in action. So everything starts with identity, right? You solve for that and you have better retargeting, better personalization, and better attribution capabilities built right in. Identity is the foundation of any good retention program, and Attentive has done a killer job, I have to say, of making sure their identity solution is world-class. It starts with a key identifier that rarely ever changes, a phone number. These days, a cell number follows you seemingly from throughout life, from cradle to grave, whereas an email you have, numerous throughout your life. Having started life as an SMS provider, phone number was already the key identifier for Attentive, so giving them quite a good edge in that way. With Attentive's enhanced tag, it creates a server-side tracking that allows for durable cookies. And while still privacy compliant, their improved tracking supports more accurate event attribution, helping us as brand marketers regain visibility that was lost due to evolving data privacy changes. So at Roswell, I'm sure many of you use server-side tracking in various forms, and we were early adopters of server-side tracking for our brands. And we've tested several solutions over the years, and there are a lot of great solutions out there. And while we found many of them to be very effective, measuring their impact hasn't always been that straightforward. So we're finding it really helpful to have everything native within Attentive to analyze server-side tracking performance and context right alongside the rest of our retention marketing data. And Attentive goes a step beyond other solutions. Their server-side tracking runs on a subdomain, which not only enables brands to retarget subscribers long after traditional cookies would have expired, but also ensures sign-up units can be served to all users, even those using ad blockers. Having the data in one platform allows you to see the results quickly. Miss Jessie's and Hat Heaven are still on their free trial periods, but they are already seeing great results with Identity AI. And the lesson here is you can't market to customers if you can't identify them. And most brands are missing more visitors than they realize. And this is where AI transforms segmentation through audiences. Instead of basic segments like VIP customers, Audiences AI analyzes behavioral signals to find high intent audiences that are likely to convert. and adds them to your campaign sends, simultaneously removing the subscribers that are not likely to buy. At Roswell, we've always taken a very strategic approach to segmentation, tailoring it to each brand for optimal deliverability and impact. But even with segments based on engagement, recency, and frequency of purchase and on-site activity, a manual approach to segmentation is never going to reach every single subscriber at the right moment. We found that combining our segmentation strategy with Audiences AI has expanded the reach and performance of our campaigns for our brands. Our segments act as a guide to Audiences AI, allowing it to cherry pick subscribers who are more likely to purchase and skip those who are not. And it's not about replacing human strategy, it's about amplifying it. And for Miss Jessie's, we've seen really great results. We've been able to expand the audiences that we're sending to quite significantly, and we've seen a lot of revenue come in from that as well. So those people would have been missed had we not been sending to them. That revenue just wouldn't have happened. And also, we're also able to exclude some subscribers as well who aren't likely to purchase, saving us some money on SMS as well. The third layer is Send Time AI. And in Attentive experiments, around 70% of Send Time AI tests show positive results on click-through or conversion rates, not because the content changed, just the timing. For Miss Jessie's, our early experiments for that brand, we're seeing Send Time AI outperform standard send times about 57% of the time. So still working on achieving the same results. And of course, every customer has their optimal engagement window. It's not just your demographic or your particular subscribers in general. Everybody is going to interact with your messages at their own unique time, most likely. And AI finds each person's sweet spot automatically, delivering messages when they are most likely to engage. But perfect timing means nothing if your messages sound generic, of course. We all know that. And so layer 4 of AI Pro is brand voice. Brand voice AI scales your brand's personality. It creates copy based on historical messages, and the AI prevents a robotic brand voice. You can adjust it and preview the changes as you do so. So it's looking at all of your past messages and taking that brand tone and combining it into a brand voice. So it has a lot to work with already, especially if you've been on the platform for a while. However, you can go into the platform and make adjustments as needed. So you can adjust it to be more playful or add more emojis, etc., all sorts of things. And you can preview that in real time. So it'll combine those past messages with the direction that you're giving it and show you right then and there how a message would change based on the changes that you're making on the screen. So it's pretty fun to play with, actually. And so when you combine all of this together, you get a compound effect. So you stack the layers and you get a 20 to 25% lift in subscribers. Audiences AI delivers a 15 to 20% average revenue increase, and Send Time AI has a positive impact on CTR and CVR in 70% of tests. So combined, these features have driven 10 to 20% increase in revenue from eligible campaigns and journeys. So just a visual of how the optimizations and the layers amplify each other and work together to create significant revenue lift. And then it's super easy to implement. So one thing I have to say I love about Attentive is they make their usability very straightforward. So this is all integrated within their UI, and it also is very easy to monitor the KPIs and the incremental revenue from the implementation of AI within the platform. So measuring what matters, here are some of the metrics to watch out for. Incremental revenue, so additional revenue directly attributed to AI and AI Pro. Identification lift, how many more customers you're reaching. Audience performance, AI segments versus traditional and how they're performing. Reduced cost, efficiency gains from excluding low interest segments, and compound ROI, the multiplier effect across all the features. And of course, there's AI built, burgeoning in lots of platforms right now. So these are great to measure no matter what platform you're using. It's a great way to see how AI is performing in comparison to what you would normally have done. So a quick action plan for implementing AI is to audit your current data activation. How much of your customer data are you actually using? How much is driving your decisions and your strategy? And how much are you using for personalization? We're all collecting so much information just by people visiting our site, but also through quizzes and asking questions, loyalty surveys, etc. What are we doing with that data? And then audit your tech stack. So is it playing nice together, using AI to its fullest and delivering improved results over time? And then your plan of attack. Is AI going to save you time, really importantly, let you do the things that you're really good at? And is it going to let you scale your marketing and bring personalization into everything you do? And what platforms are you going to use to get there? And then, of course, monitoring performance, tracking those KPIs like incremental revenue lift to make sure that you're on the right path. And then that's it. I think I talked a little faster than I meant to. So I probably am a little ahead of time in finishing, but
That's okay, girl. That's okay. Because I actually had like a bunch of questions that I was thinking about as you were chatting. So I would love to, well, and there's one in the audience that I would love to go over, and then let's do a little interview style. Are you down?
Okay.
Okay.
So let's do it.
So Adam asked, how long were those trial periods that you were going over?
I think they're just, both of them are about a month long right now. So it's really important to have Attentive's enhanced tracking tag implemented to make it all work and the identity work to its fullest. So that one, I think has been on Heaven's site for about a month, and Miss Jessie's maybe a month and a half.
Okay, cool. So still like a shorter amount of time, but I mean, like, that's general AI right now. Like, all of these concepts that we're talking about, we don't have years and years and years of trial periods, right? Like, we're trialing and erroring some things, which from your perspective as just being somebody who is a growth marketer, outside of those examples, like, what time frame have you seen, like, when you're running any retention test, and I'm not even saying AI test, like a retention test overall, what do you suggest to, like, say, like, okay, this is the trial period and this is how long I've run it for, and like, now I know that my results are good?
It really depends on the scale of how much, a scale of the brand, how many subscribers they have, how much site traffic, how many people are going through their journeys, their flows. So it's not just about time. It's about having enough data to make a decision. So a lot of platforms have likelihood built in and can give you A/B test results and how, with percentages of how likely something is to be true. So that is one way to do it. And usually at least 1,000 people going through a flow, for instance, would be what I would assume would be something to look at. But usually most platforms will make that decision for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. I think that most platforms will make that decision for you. I think just as marketers and anybody looking to, like, utilize any of this stuff for anything that you're communicating your customer with, whether it's customer service, whether it's retention marketing or growth marketing, it's just like, you have to, like, play with it. You just have to keep, like, trial and erroring and, like, figure out what works best for you with your data sets.
And I do think a lot of it's intuition, right? We got into marketing because we have intuition about human behavior and what drives our decisions, what drives us as people. And I think that, that is one place I'm not sure AI can be fully as good as a human. So I like to start with at least the seed of a theory with actual human thought. So
yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you on that perspective. I think that it's a lot of what's so funny, right? As we're talking about these testing and these trials and tribulations, right, of like AI, is that a lot of people think that you can just turn it on. you don't have to QA it. You don't have to do any of the testing and these other things. You still have to create boundaries around AI, and no matter what capacity that you're using it in. And exactly what you were saying about trusting your gut or using your gut or in your intuition, right? You're absolutely right. As marketers, or even like as CX professionals, like we are people who care about the consumer behavior from an empathetic standpoint. And if that doesn't feel human and it doesn't feel authentic, that tells you what you should do with those tests, right?
Yeah, for sure. You said that really well. It's
Oh,
about empathy. Yeah.
I didn't think I did, but
No,
we're
you
winging
did.
it here. Yeah, I again, like I had like quite a few questions, so like if you're good to chat for a bit, but what what I'm curious from you, and I kind of asked this in in the last session too, right? Where do you think the line is between helpful AI recommendations versus like, okay, this brand is like literally just stalking me, like maybe this is a little too personalized?
A little too personalized. Yeah. Well, I think it's in the messaging, right? I think there's a way to be personalized without being like, I see you looking at this product and it tells me this about you. I think it can be like, if somebody's looking at that product, it would be better to reach out about solutions that person might be looking for related to that product. I do have to say, I get a little too many automatic messages that are geared toward maybe something that I looked at like way in the past, and it's low on inventory or something really generic that comes out too often, that makes it feel like I'm just being bombarded by things. So I think I am hopeful that AI is going to take away some of those automatic messages that
Yeah.
we are relying on for volume, and get more specific and more creative, and allow us to speak more to what people are actually looking for, rather than just like tiny behavior signals.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I actually had, before AI was a big thing in email and SMS, right? Like this is like quite a few years ago. Before, I wouldn't say a big thing. Like we've all been using AI in some sort of capacity, but
Yeah.
we've just are now using more of that conversational piece of it, right? But I actually had this brand, and I'm not going to name names because around here we don't call people out, but we call people out by their tactics. Okay. um, and I had this brand that I loved, like loved so much. I loved their products, right? Like it was a beauty brand. And I bought one of their concealers. All of a sudden, my inbox every single day was 12 to 15 emails because they weren't segmenting me. They weren't doing things based off of my behavior.
Mhm.
And I think at one point between email and SMS, like we just used to blast. We just used to batch and blast and not and yes, we always talk about segmenting and we always talked about all these things, but I think that like if that brand at that time had some sort of like AI or I just want to say like AI, like I don't want to be like other things, but it had some sort of AI that was like a little bit more predictive of the analytics. I think it could have like called out that you're batching and blasting at this point. Like these people are not specific in these like segments and like stop. So what ended up happening though, from a personal experience, was I actually don't buy that product anymore. Even though I really love it, I do not buy that product direct on their website. I only go in and buy it at like a retail location because I don't want to be blasted individually because I had a really terrible
You
experience.
don't want to go to their website and get trapped into their endless marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, that's a good, that's just a good point about like how we think about like personalization, right? Like there's a fine line between personalization and just being like, okay, like you're literally stalking me at this point. But this is my opinion of it.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And we've done a lot of manual things on our team in user journeys to get around to sending too frequently. We do consider messages that go out through automations to be the most important ones. So we want them to go out. They are based on user behavior, right? But there is that chance that they're just going to be bombarding people. So in the past, we've done a lot of manual setups to make sure that there are delays before campaigns go out and things like that. But with AI, I have hope for the future that it will just be, like Sente AI, like, we can take a look and see that you got a message recently and we're not going to send it. And it's just going to be automatic, and it's not going to have to be, there's not going to be as much error, opportunity for error in that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going back to what you were saying though, on like you can utilize AI and you can utilize these tools, but it's also still having like human intervention and like that gut checking and like what we were talking about with like that empathy.
Mhm.
If AI starts shaping every single touch point, so even talking about the entire funnel, right? How do you think that brands can keep their voice and authenticity intact?
With AI,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten amazing, right? I feel like a year ago, there were not that many platforms that could do it to just incredibly well. And now I feel like it's really just in the last few months, even just changed dramatically, where it gives you, AI is giving us a lot of control over brand voice. And it's just so, it's like I mean, it's a language learning model, right? It's all about language, and it's really, AI has learned how to speak like a myriad people. And I
Yeah.
have no longer am having problems with it, honestly. Like,
Oh, interesting.
what I see come out is really kind of brilliant a lot of the time, as long as it has a lot of human copy to work off of. Like, you don't want it to start with AI and build on more and more and more AI, right? You want to start with good copywriting that you really like, that somebody with a soul created, and build on top of that and reference that, and then it really comes up with some great stuff. And like within the Attentive platform, you can make those adjustments, like, if you want it to be more playful all of a sudden, or you want to make little tweaks over time, it can take all that previous data and then just make those little tweaks on top. And I think that the results are really incredible.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because somebody actually called out in the chat that like one of the things that they wanted to learn more about was like AI and like in dealing with the trials and tribulations of it, like kind of having those hallucinations.
Mhm.
I would love to, like, if you've gotten it to spinning out really incredible information, like, is there any sort of prompts that you can share to like help with those, like setting those boundaries?
Gosh.
I know that was like really deep. I'm sorry about researching, but if anything comes to the top of your head, yeah. And actually, I think the problem with AI for copy is without an established brand voice guidance, you can sound like every other brand who uses ChatGPT to write
I
copy.
totally agree. Yeah, you really have to start with human copywriting that you love. And but a lot of brands have that. I think it would be brands who are relying too much on AI for copy, or just aren't established very much. You have to have that pool of copy to start with, though. Otherwise, you are just going to get useless drivel kind
Yeah,
of over time. Yeah, and you will
yeah.
sound generic. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it has to learn your voice. I mean, to Emily's point and Alana's point in the chat too, right? Like, I think what's really important from brand building 101, just in general, like, and this is what I always advise our clients, whether it's CX, whether it's retention, whether it's brand strategy, like, it doesn't matter. Like, where we're starting is we're building the brand guidelines for your brand in any capacity. And it's not necessarily like visual identity. It's like, what's the tone of voice, what's your messaging, what's your
Mhm.
positioning, and how do you stand? And then if you have that, even if it's a one pager, if you have that, then you can feed it into any of these AI models, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Attentive, or any other tools that it is that you're using for like AI. It's like you have to, at a baseline, spend a good 10 hours of your week, okay? I'm gonna be real with you. 10 hours of your week of when you're brand building to develop what that voice is, because you are not gonna be able to tell a human or AI who the hell you are, right?
It's true. Yeah. No, and it is kind of incredible. that a lot of brands just don't have that, or don't have an updated version of that aligns with their current state of their brand. So a lot of times when we start working with a brand, we kind of, if they don't have that, that's what we spend our time on, right? Or we delve into what's changed since that brand guide was created and what we can do to add to it. So that's usually what the foundation of where we start.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I think in both concepts that we're talking about, like when you're helping a brand, whether it's marketing or, brand strategy, whatever it is, I do think it's really important as we like, because I know there's CX professionals in the chat here. I also think that like, even if your brand does not have those guidelines, create that tone of voice for your customer's experience as you start learning that customer more and more. Even if you got to go a little rogue, I'm not going to lie to you. I went rogue. When I built Feastables, I was like, nobody knew what they were doing. And I was like, don't worry, guys, we're going to develop this TOV guide.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Emily. Sorry.
Oh, I like it when I get customer service emails or messages or chats that are really human sounding,
Yeah.
and that really reflect the brand voice. One of them actually would be The Onion. Has really good emails from customer service that are just hilarious, that are just right in line with their brand, and are like a joy to get. So if you want to get like, go interact with the Onion customer service, and you'll be delighted.
Yeah. For anybody like, also looking for other examples, I think The Onion, absolutely, like from all across the board on all of their content, right?
Mm-hmm.
A brand that I really like in their customer service voice is it's actually a brand that I work with. They're called Seatopia. And what they are is, it's seafood, like through the mail, right? Like really good quality, but everything that they sign off on is like a pun on like fish or the sea, or like instead of saying thank you, it's aloha. And I love that. Like, and so the point is, like, what we're talking about is like Onion, Seatopia, or any of these brands have like very distinct brand voices, and you have to carry that through. You just have to carry that through in like whatever capacity. Before I let you go, there is one other comment that's in the chat that like sparked another question for me. But Adam said, and let's not forget, Google penalizes people using AI exclusively for content and copy. So on that same vein of talking about like building out your brand guidelines and putting these into ChatGPT, right? Like, I'm curious, as you're helping brands, like how do you create, again, like how do you kind of like create the balance of like, okay, this is enough AI in your content, and this is like, we need to maybe actually go do a real lifestyle shoot, or we really need to bring a real copywriter into it. It's like, how do you balance that?
Budget for one thing. Like, do you have the budget for a lifestyle shoot, or we always prefer lifestyle shoots, or actual real imagery. We love doing photography, but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to just have AI created images now, so it does save a lot of money. It's really fast, saves time, but for copywriting, we are using it to augment our output like everybody else, but we always have it starts with the copywriter directing, and it ends with the copywriter editing, or writing part of it. So we just, in order to, I wouldn't say it's like a percentage we're going for, but we are always making sure that everything sounds human, that it sounds on brand, and checking over AI's work, making sure there's nothing weird in there. Typically there's not. And like I said, I think it's come a long way. But we have really great copywriters who take a lot of pride in their work, and they would never like send something out without, a human touch to it. So yeah, that's, I don't know, it's just kind of practical. I wouldn't say like I have anybody go in and say change 50% or something like that, though.
Yeah. Ooh, I've seen some hallucinations. Okay.
Oh yeah. What's your favorite?
Wait, I'm trying to think. One brand that I work with, this is more of like a customer support bot, right? And listen, we fed this AI so much stuff, like not about brand guidelines, like also just like automations and like how to do things. And all of a sudden, like, and it's a subscription brand, right?
Mhm.
And all of a sudden the AI was like, yeah, you can return your subscription to this random address that we're not even sure like where it pulled from. And not only in the conversation, it also had said some things about like their subscription with the wrong products, like that was like, and completely confused the customer. But I mean, it's different use cases, right? Again, these are all different use cases. What you're talking about is like in retention and copy and content. And like what I'm talking about also is in customer support. And I think at the bottom line of all of these things, we have to, sorry, I'm laughing because Adam, they're like going off about like images and Adam's saying something about like SVG vector icons. And they made this comment, there's still this thing called Photoshop. And then I'm like, I love the Photoshop, Adobe Suite, babe.
Photoshop has AI features now too.
I know for sure. But anyway, all we're saying is like there's just boundaries. There's boundaries around it all. You can personalize it, you can scale it, you can do all the things, but you have to have the empathy and you have to have the boundaries around it.
And thank goodness, right? We're not totally useless yet. So
yeah, I totally agree. Well, I don't think AI is coming for our jobs anytime soon. I think it's just going to help us make us faster and better.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
Emily, thank you so much for doing a little Q&A. This is my podcast style. This
I love
is
it. Thank you.
a version of Above the Fold here. But I appreciate your session, and I hope that you stick around a little bit longer on the webinar.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet you, Jess. Thanks, everybody.